Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today is Soul Sunday, and I am so sorry that I didn't do a Soul Sunday last week. Honestly, I can't even tell you why. I do know why. We went to a marriage conference right after church, and with everyone still being kind of sick, I didn't pre-film one. So we did the marriage conference, and that was really good. I definitely, if you are a married person watching this, invest in your marriage. It was good. It wasn't like brand new information we didn't know, but it was just a good refresher reminder. And then they actually had it where there was a date night directly after, or you could choose to do a date night directly after. So we went to dinner. We actually went with Brandon and Cassie and had some great conversation there. And then on the way home from that, we had some more conversation, and then when we got home, got the kids to bed, we had some more conversation. So it was just good. And one of the things that we realized is we're kind of turning into two ships in the night a little bit, and so how can we help that? And so we came up with a game plan. We are surprise, we don't do a couples devotion all the time. In fact, we've probably very sporadically done couples devotions throughout our marriage, and we see a huge difference when we're doing it and a huge difference when we don't. So we actually got each other one for Valentine's Day, and we're going to start doing a devotion. This one's once a week, so it's like starting with somewhere practical. And I know, shoot, I'm guilty. I see couples, Christian couples, and it's like we pray and read together every night, and that is just not our reality all the time. Sometimes I'm fighting for my own devotional time with the Lord, and I don't make it a priority all the time, but we are definitely going to focus more on just being more intentional. And now my camera died and my phone's acting weird, so we're just going to roll with it. So yes, last week we had a marriage event, and so that was really, really great, but that made me not film a Soul Sunday, and you guys, I totally missed it. I'm going to kind of share what God was speaking to me last week and this week, and I need to grab my notes. Because I missed it, and because I kind of feel like they go together. If I could be totally transparent with you guys, I'm going through a rough season. I'm going through a season where I have felt a lot of criticism, and I have felt like I've messed up a lot, owning some of my mistakes, but also beating myself up almost too much for it. And it's just been rough. It's been a rough time. I'm seeing a lot of holes in my character and in my myself that I need to address and fix. And sometimes that's just hard. It's just hard to be like, yep, I need to fix that. Yep, I need to fix that. Oops, I hurt that person. Shoot, I said something I shouldn't have again. So it's just been rough. And I'll be honest, my journal ran out. I usually do my Bible study, and I journal thoughts and things like that. And that's very therapeutic to me. It just helps me get it on the paper, and I, surprising, have no journals. So for the last week and a half, I haven't been journaling, and I didn't go to the store because my kids were sick, and I just didn't want to be out in public. I could have sent someone, but then, I'm super possessive about that kind of stuff. I want the journal that I want. So yeah, a million excuses. Bottom line is I need to journal, and I didn't. And I was just feeling very disconnected. So every time I'd go to pray and read, it was I hit a wall a little bit. But I swear to you, the only thing that would come to my mind is just don't quit. And that is my encouragement to you today. And I was talking about it with somebody else. All the people we admire started off in humble circumstances, or even if they didn't, maybe humble circumstances as far as their relationship with the Lord. I don't feel any of us come into this world or come into Christianity with this super knowledge and this super deep, meaningful relationship with the Lord. We all have to work at it, and we all have to put value on it. We have to put intention behind it. All these things, we see these people we admire, and the reason we see them and we admire them is because they didn't quit through the adversity. We all love an underdog story. We all love a story of a come up, but you can't have a come up if you haven't been at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have something, this hoorah story, if you started off up here. Like, it's always like watching someone just don't quit. Just don't quit. They just kept going. They just got a little more grit. They just got a little more perseverance. They just got endurance. But endurance doesn't come from not having trials. And so that is just something, like, honestly, every time I went to pray, it was like, just don't quit, Mandy. Just don't quit. You're on the edge of something beautiful that I have in store for you. But if you quit now, if you quit fighting for, and I'm not even talking like quit my ministry or my job or anything like that. It's like quit growing. Like, just become what everybody wants you to be, and just quit looking to me for guidance. Just do the normal Christian thing and be a good girl, and quit striving to break down walls. I don't feel God has called us to have a traditional church in the sense where there is a lot of do's and don'ts and laws, and there's God's law, but like this checklist of like, if you don't meet these things, you can't sit with us. Like, I don't want a church like that. I want a church where everybody's welcome and everybody has a safe space to explore their relationship with God. And I want Him to mend their hearts. I want Him to show them the things that they need to change in their own life. I don't ever want to be that person who points a finger or points out the plank in my brother's eye or the speck, and forgetting the plank in my own. And so I feel like that is how it works a lot of times. And I feel like that's why Christians get such a bad rap, is because we're always like, well, you're doing this, 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 and this. Well, meanwhile, we're ugly inside and just judgmental. It's a sin. Like, just all those things. But we're always pointing out at the world. P.S. I have a little side note to that. Like, if you aren't a believer and you're watching this for some reason, allow Christians to have some space to screw up, because we're going to. Because at the end of the day, we are human. And so just as much as I feel like we point the finger at the world, like, hey, you're not doing this, this, and this, I feel like the world points the finger at us and is like, well, you messed up. I thought you were a Christian. You know, like, well, I am, but that does not mean I'm Christ. I am not perfect, and I'm going to continue walking out my salvation daily. Little side note there. So that was my main thing last week, is just don't quit. And then we actually sang a song in church, and I'll have to try to find the YouTube for it or something and link it. But there's a line in the song that it says, "You don't owe me anything." And it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I'm ugly crying in the front row, because it's like, when and where in the Bible did I ever read that if I am in ministry, or if I'm just a believer, a follower of Christ, that my journey would be easy? Like, when did I get this entitled posture of, because I'm following Him and I read my Bible every day and I'm doing all these things, that I just get this easy pass through life? Like, when was that a thing? When did I feel like God owed me? Because I'm pretty sure He gave me His life so that I can have a relationship with Him. And that's the only thing I'm really promised, is that I have access to God. I have access to the Almighty. And there is, of course, going to be blessings, but there's, of course, going to be trials. And when I'm in a trial, why do I expect it? Why do I feel like I'm doing something wrong, or God isn't with me anymore, or I should only have the blessings and never the burden of being a Christian? Like, when did that become a thing? And I feel like that happens a lot. In fact, I've had a few conversations this week with people where it's like, when did we think that this was going to be easy? When did we think that we just get to make our checklist to God and He just checks it off and He answers our prayers and we get our will, not His will? And it's just this perfect little package of, you know, I'm doing your work and so I get all this. Like, no. In fact, when I read the Bible, they're martyred. They're persecuted. They lose their families, they lose their homes, they lose their businesses, they lose everything. And if they don't lose it, God asks them for it. Like, when did I think that this was going to be easy? And so that just really carried me through this week of like, almost a peace in that, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, if my expectation isn't just unicorns and rainbows, Christianity, if I know I'm going to struggle, but I am promised a king who will always be with me, a counselor who's always going to comfort me. My Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. So he's always going to provide for me. He provides for the wildflowers. He provides for the sparrow. How much more is he going to provide for me? But providing doesn't always mean that I'm going to have that big, nice house that I'm dreaming of. I have to be thankful for the house I'm in. It doesn't mean my bank account is going to be overflowing, although sometimes it does. It just means that I'm going to have enough to feed my family. I'm going to have enough to have a roof over my head, and that's going to be enough. And I have Jesus. Like, I don't know. I came to a certain piece this week of like, I'm not going to quit. He's working on my character, so I'm going to let him. It's going to be rough. I'm going to not like it all the time, but he doesn't owe me. In fact, I owe him everything. And if him going to the cross and suffering in that way is any indication of what I am going to have to do, so be it. I'll do it. I'm here. Here I am, Lord. Send me. So that's kind of where I'm at, and that's pretty intense. I know. I mean, we're all in different stages and phases of our journey, and this one's mine. Sometimes it is really, I don't want to paint a really horrible picture, but sometimes it is hard. But the hard isn't a punishment, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, I don't feel like God's out there punishing us. I feel like sometimes our free will, some of the decisions we've made, there's consequences to them. Why am I burdened by debt? Because I used the credit card. God didn't make me use the credit card, nor did he encourage me to do it. So why is he going to give me an easy way out of debt? I've got to earn it. I've got to work for it. But he said he'd help me. He said he'd give me creative ideas, that he'd be here with me, that he'll provide my needs in it. Sometimes there will be these crazy little blessings that come. But for the most part, I created the debt. I did it. I used the credit card, not him. So I don't know. That's just my little rant for this week. And then today in church, it was really good. We're still in Love Changes Things. In fact, this is our last week of Love Changes Things. And Brad talked about love extends grace. And I think that is a beautiful thing as well, that they will notice that we love each other, that we have to believe the best in people. We can't go around always thinking that people are being malicious, or that they are only thinking bad about us and plotting how to hurt us. Like, half the time they're not even thinking about you and you're holding on to offense about it. That we have to, what was the second one? Give space for people to grow. I think this is beautiful, especially for those of us who have ever struggled with people in our lives that have struggled with addiction. This is something that can be hard to do because of the past pain and hurt that has been caused. Sometimes you go back there, even though they've moved forward and they're growing as a person. Any little thing can trigger you, and then you can take them back because you're like, oh, I remember this. This feels familiar. So we go all the way back to when it wasn't good. But we got to give people space to grow and space to change. And just because they were one way in one season doesn't mean that's who they are. We are not our mistakes, and we will wear that badge and that mantra easily when it applies to us, but sometimes we have a hard time using that and applying it to other people. Like, we're like, I've changed, I've grown, give me grace, blah, 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 blah. But then somebody else needs some grace. They've changed, they've grown, and we're like, I remember who you are. I remember how you are. I'm not going there with you again. Not saying put yourself in harmful situations. I'm not saying use discernment. I'm not saying any of that, but give people space to grow. And then we need to forgive quickly and easily, and walk in forgiveness is what he said. I love this statement. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. What forgiveness does is just releases the toxicness in your own heart. It doesn't release or condone what happened to you or what somebody did to you, but what it does is it releases you from them, because unforgiveness keeps you guys connected in a way that's super unhealthy and toxic for you. And so when you forgive somebody, it just releases that to God, lets him punish. And trust me, I have seen this in my life. He does. He has a way of getting justice, because consequences to choices, it happens. I don't think God punishes, but I definitely think that things play out in a way that vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So anyways, that's a whole nother tangent, but walk in forgiveness. Let yourself be released from just any anxiety or just ugliness, you know? So yeah, that is my little rant for the last 2 weeks. I don't even know if any of this made any sense, so I hope it did. I hope anything that is of Mandy and is an opinion falls away. I hope that anything is truth and is of God and is useful and edifying to you will stick, because I am all over the place. I'm actually very tired today. I stayed up very late watching a movie, so that was not probably my most mature decision, but I did it. So I love you guys. I miss this. In fact, Brad's like, you maybe should take a nap. I said, no, I actually really love filming my Soul Sundays. It gives me energy. So that's why I'm here with you today. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next week. Enjoy. Comment below anything you want, any topics you want me to talk about, anything like that, or just any prayer requests. I would love this to be a place where we could pray for each other. And I hope you're having a great day. All right, guys. We'll see you in our next video.